Part 1. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 2. Ning Ning, it's time to get up, today is our return day. Len Ning opened her eyes, and the dazzling sunlight made her mind go blank for a moment. The warm and soft bed, and the leisurely chirping of birds in my ears. Turning to look at the bedside, there was a mobile phone. Len Ning seemed to remember something, turned over and took the phone into his hand. November 13th, XXXX. Len Ning's heart tightened, and the hand holding the phone couldn't help but tremble. Although everything was so incredible, she seemed to be reborn. Today's date happens to be the third day of the first year of the end of the world. On November 11th, XXXX Blue Star was shrouded in a haze, and humans mutated one after another. In just 2 weeks, nearly 3/4 of the people on Blue Star turned into zombies, and the end was coming. In the days that followed, Blue Star became a hell for humans. In her previous life, she was considered lucky. She persisted in the apocalypse for 5 full years, watching humanity go from being in constant panic to slowly gaining a foothold, establishing order, and then planning a counterattack. Unfortunately, she misjudged the man and became a stumbling block to the man's ambition, and also harmed her own family. Thinking of this, Len Ning felt a pain in his heart. Now that God has given her a chance to start over, she must protect her family this time. The place where she is now is a resort on the outskirts of City A. The reason for coming here is to go for outdoor development training with my classmates. She didn't particularly want to come, it was Han Yu who invited and persuaded her. Han Yu said that she doesn't fit in with others, and this is a good opportunity to build friendships with her classmates. Since Han Yu was her only friend, she was afraid that Han Yu would be angry, and because she really wanted to get closer to her classmates, she agreed because she was cowardly by nature. Her mother was worried about her, so she followed her. Her mother's arrival exposed her to rumors from some classmates. She even complained to her mother in her heart about this. Now that I think about it, I really shouldn't have. Oh, Ning Ning, why are you still lying in bed? The door was pushed open, and a familiar face appeared at the door. Mom. Len Ning was confused. In the previous life, the man deceived his mother into going to the base, and used his mother and her to threaten his elder brother into submission. Before she died, my mother was tortured to the point of being transformed into a human by that vicious woman Han Yu, and finally chose to commit suicide. She will never forget the last words her mother said to her. She said, "Ning Ning, help mother." At that moment she was still confused, not knowing what her mother was asking her to do. It wasn't until her mother committed suicide in front of her that she knew she was asking her to give her relief after her death. After all human beings were infected with the zombie virus at that time. Even if they were not bitten by zombies, humans who died naturally would turn into zombies. The only way for people to rest in peace forever is to smash the heads of zombies. But that was her mother, how could she bear to let her leave her completely? Later, Han Yu tied her mother who turned into a zombie with an iron chain and lived in the same room with her. Every time they need to be used to threaten their eldest brother, they will let her and her mother out. Seeing her eldest brother becoming more and more passive during the confrontation with the Southern Army base, and even getting into trouble, she finally had no choice but to give her mother a relief, which also freed herself. I thought she could only die with hatred in her heart, but she didn't expect that she was still alive, and was reborn with memories. Oops. Ning Ning, what's wrong with you? Seeing Len Ning crying, Lei's mother worriedly stepped forward and pulled Len Ning into her arms. Although Ning Ning is not her biological child, isn't it just like her own daughter? The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 3. Ning Ning's biological mother is her best friend, and she used to be the best friend. And if it weren't for her and her husband, Ning Ning wouldn't have lost her parents and become an orphan. In that accident, Ning Ning lost her parents and she lost her husband. Over the years, if Ning Ning and her son hadn't been with her, she probably wouldn't have been able to survive. When Ning Ning first came to their house, she was like a frightened little mouse. Fortunately, she was patient, and Ning Ning gradually accepted her and even called her mother. No, she just picked a girl for nothing. My son has his own career to be busy with. His father left behind a big mess when he left. Even though her son was a capable person, she knew it was not easy for him. Therefore, she rarely bothered her son, and more often guarded her daughter. In fact, rather than saying that she was taking care of Ning Ning, it was better to say that Ning Ning was accompanying her. Without Ning Ning, she probably wouldn't be able to get out. No. It's okay. Len Ning quickly wiped his tears. Since arriving at this home, her mother has been extremely nervous about everything she says and does. If she loses her composure like this, she should probably be worried. Smiling at Lei's mother, Len Ning said, "It was just a nightmare. Mom, I'm fine." Lei's mother was doubtful. "What nightmare did you have?" Don't blame her for being worried. The accident that year was too horrific, and Ning Ning was at the scene. Since the accident, Ning Ning often had nightmares, and it took more than 2 years for her to recover. But even though I feel better mentally, I have developed the habit of not wanting to interact with others. After returning to school, Ning Ning felt out of tune with her surroundings and became increasingly withdrawn. If it weren't for her friend Han Yu, she might not even be willing to go to school. Ning Ning said she had a nightmare, but don't dream about that. "Oh, I just watched a zombie movie yesterday and was scared. I had a dream last night." Len Ning pushed Lei's mother. "Mom, please go out first. I'll change my clothes and go find you." "Oh, then hurry up, Lao Liang is already waiting outside." After saying that, Lei Mu left. Lao Liang is the driver of their Lei family, and her son hired someone to drive for her. Len Ning lay back on the bed. Finally, he fully digested the fact that he had been reborn. If I told my mother about this, she would definitely not believe it. And time is urgent. Although the poisonous fog will come slower here due to the terrain, according to her calculations, it shouldn't be long. Suddenly Len Ning felt dizzy, and then a green light appeared in his mind. That is. With the thought, a vine appeared in Len Ning's hand. It happened to be the one she used to free her mother and herself. All the seeds she had stored in the space ring, including the space ring, were taken away by Huo Xiao and Han Yu. Without the seeds, she, the strongest wood mutant in City A, was completely useless. Later, if her mother hadn't secretly given her a seed from between her fingernails, she and her mother would have been unable to find a way to escape. Now, the vine grown from that seed has actually been reborn with him. Len Ning felt a little weird when he thought about it now. At that time, her body was extremely exhausted and her mental energy was exhausted. Logically speaking, she could not cause the plants to grow wildly. But the vine seemed to be able to understand her inner thoughts and automatically formed the shape she needed directly according to her wishes. Thinking about everything related to the vine before she died, Len Ning had to doubt the origin of the vine. Perhaps, this vine is not a simple existence. However, she didn't want to think too much now. There are two kinds of best friends in this world, one is like Len Ning and Han Yu, and the other is like Lei Mu and Len Ning's mother. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 4. She had to take her mother home first. After digesting all this, Len Ning turned over and quickly got up from the bed. Picking up the phone on the bedside, Len Ning found the number of his adopted brother Lei Lei and dialed it. "The number you dialed cannot be connected, please try again later." A mechanical female voice came from the phone. Sure enough, it was just as she expected. On the eve of the doomsday, large-scale meteor showers broke out all over the world, and satellite communications were blocked. For a long time after that, humans could no longer use satellite-related communication equipment. In her memory, her eldest brother was discussing business in other places at this time. Therefore, it is actually unrealistic to expect her eldest brother to come back immediately to help her and her mother. In her previous life, on the day of her return trip, she was persuaded by Hanyu to get on the bus with her classmates, leaving her mother to go back alone with the driver, Uncle Liang. Later, the bus collided with a private car fleeing the city on the road, and many people were injured. Then, zombies appeared. Most of the classmates were eaten alive. The few bitten classmates quickly mutated into zombies and began to attack the survivors. Afterwards, the mother who arrived suggested that the survivors follow them to the Lei family villa to take refuge. On the way to Lei's villa, they found car accidents and zombies everywhere, and less than half of the people traveling with them died. Thanks to Uncle Liang's presence, she and her mother were well protected. After arriving at the villa, thanks to the strong security of the villa, the group was finally safe for the time being. However, what happened next was not good. When we first arrived at the villa, everyone initially respected my mother and her very much. But as time went by, the food in the villa became less and less, and the situation outside did not improve. Some people began to no longer regard their mother and her as their masters. Even later, she and her mother became the targets of their drive. My mother is such a proud and arrogant person. Just for her to have a bite to eat, she lowers her body and begs them. Thinking of this, Len Ning felt a dull pain in his heart. Her mother had sacrificed so much for her, but she had harmed her. Fortunately, the end of the world has just begun, and she still has a chance to prevent the tragedy of her previous life from happening again. The Lei family villa is located in the city and is not the most ideal place to take refuge. On the contrary, the resort they are in now is located in the suburbs. Because it is the off-season, there are few people here for vacation. Fewer people means that there are fewer people who will be infected by the poisonous mist and mutate. And now that she has the vines in hand, it should not be difficult to protect her mother and herself. Next, there are restaurants and supermarkets in the resort, as well as small farms growing vegetable crops. As long as no one interferes, the supplies here are enough to last for a long time. According to the memory of the previous life, the poisonous fog will dissipate in a week, and communications will be restored briefly by then. She can wait until then to contact her elder brother. As long as the eldest brother comes here to find them, they will be safe. Yes, her eldest brother Lei will awaken the thunder power, and will become the strongest combat power user in the entire southern region in the future. After the end of the world began, Lei led a group of brothers to quickly establish the thunder base, and quickly established a foothold, once becoming the largest survivor base after the Southern Army base. It's a pity that the big tree attracts the wind and is missed by others. If it weren't for myself. Forget it, don't think about that. She will atone for her sins in this life. Thinking of this, Len Ning quickly went to the bathroom and washed his face. Then simply pack up and go out. Lei Mu was actually waiting at the door. Seeing Lei's mother looking at him nervously, Len Ning felt warm in his heart. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 5. Before Lei Mu could speak, Len Ning had already said, "Mom, let's not leave today, okay?" Lei Mu was stunned for a moment, then nodded quickly. Okay anyway, his son won't be back that soon, so whatever Ning Ning says will be whatever he says. Stay here until Big Brother comes to pick us up, Len Ning continued. Lei Mu was stunned again. But, you have to dash, the outdoor development training is over, and there are still 2 days of vacation before we go back, and then we have to go back to school. As for my son's return, it will take another 4 or 5 days no matter what. This resort has a beautiful scenery. I want to rest for a few more days and play here with my mother, Len Ning said with a smile. Lei felt warm in her heart. If you have such a heart, my mother will be very happy. However, you are in the third year of high school now, and studying is important, he said and stroked Len Ning's head. I'll study hard when I get back. Is mom still worried about my grades? Len Ning smiled playfully at Lei's mother. Because of her withdrawn temperament, she spent a lot of time studying. Coupled with her talent for learning, her grades consistently ranked first in the class. And Hanyu is always below her, always second. Now that I think about it, maybe Hanyu was hostile to me from the very beginning. After all, no matter how hard she tried, she never seemed to be able to beat herself. Haha, that's right, our Ning Ning is the most powerful, Lei's mother smiled proudly. That, Len Ning winked playfully at Lei Mu. Okay, then let's stay at the resort for a few more days, Lei Mu agreed with a smile. It was rare to see her daughter so happy, so she was naturally happy to be alone with her daughter for a few days. Then call Uncle Liang, let's go buy some things and come back. The car is waiting outside, just go there, Lei's mother said happily. You go to the car and wait first, and mom goes to ask for leave from your teacher. I'll do it. Mom, please bring more money, I'm going to buy a lot today, Len Ning quickly stopped Lei's mother. Don't worry, you can spend whatever you want, Lei Mu smiled and patted her pocket. Anyway, my son will make money. Why don't you let mom go with you? Suddenly Lei's mother's expression became a little worried again. Although Ning Ning is in a better mood than usual today, she has always been introverted. Will it be difficult for her to ask for leave from the teacher alone? Len Ning saw Lei Mu's worry and stepped forward to pat Lei Mu on the shoulder. Just asking for leave, I'll be back in a moment. Lei Mu was a little surprised. I don't know why, but Ning Ning seems to be different today than before. It seems that he has suddenly grown up and matured, and no longer needs her to take care of her. Instead, he seems to take care of her. Len Ning saw Lei Mu's surprise, but she couldn't explain it now, and it was too late to explain. Mom, go wait for me in the car. After saying that, she hurried away. Introverted and timid. After experiencing so many things in her previous life, these words can no longer be used to describe her. Len Ning left the apartment building and saw his car parked on the roadside. Nodding to the driver, Uncle Liang, Len Ning then jogged towards the bus not far away. Uncle Liang was a little startled. He must have read correctly. The young lady was greeting him just now. I came to the expansion training and my mother followed me. I'm really a mother's boy. As soon as he ran to the side of the bus, Len Ning heard a female voice. It's just that she's afraid that others will know that she is the adopted daughter of the Lei family, another female voice sounded. Oh, luckily she is just an adopted daughter. If she is really the daughter of the Lei family, I don't know what to do with it, the first girl to speak continued. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kge Now. Chapter 6. Len Ning curled his lips. If she had heard these words from them at this time in her previous life, her glass heart would have been hurt. But now she didn't feel anything after hearing it. How can one make it possible for everyone to understand and like themselves in their lifetime? Then again, she didn't like her in her previous life, let alone others. Len Ning raised his feet and continued walking forward. Soon he reached the front of the bus, and someone noticed the exposed corner of his clothes. Stop talking nonsense, Ning Ning, why does she mean to show off as a eldest lady? She asked her family to follow her because of her poor health. It was Han Yu's voice. Len Ning lowered his head and glanced at his outgoing legs, and had a suspicion in his mind. If Han Yu really wanted to speak for herself, she would have done so just now. I am saying this now because I saw myself appearing. If you want to be friendly with her in front of her, when your back is turned to her, you might want to hear bad things about her, or even ruin her reputation. Why didn't she understand these things in her previous life? Len Ning was not about to hide, and even chose to speak out, directly telling them that she had heard what they just said. She is no longer the timid coward she was in her previous life, and now she has no desire to please anyone. If others say this about herself, she will no longer pretend to be deaf and dumb. As soon as Len Ning spoke out, everyone noticed her. The faces of the people who had spoken ill of her just now were instantly embarrassed. They talked, but they didn't dare to offend Len Ning. The Lei family is the school's major shareholder. If Len Ning does something bad to them, the consequences will not be something they can bear. Ning Ning, why did you come out so quickly? Han Yu walked towards Len Ning with a smile. Just as he wanted to hold Len Ning's hand, she avoided her without leaving a trace. Han Yu's expression was a little stiff. Come and ask for leave from Teacher Zhang. Do you know where Teacher Zhang is? Len Ning asked coldly. Han Yu should be glad that she has no time to deal with her now, otherwise she would directly summon vines to pierce her head. Han Yu was stunned. She didn't expect that Len Ning, who had always relied on her, would talk to her so coldly. Have you seen Teacher Zhang? Len Ning then looked at the girls who just said bad things about her. Teacher Zhang is over there, a girl said to Len Ning with some fear. What happened? Today's Len Ning turned out to be a little scary. Len Ning looked along the girl's hand and saw a tall man talking to a student. Judging from the back, there is no doubt that the tall man is Teacher Zhang. Len Ning withdrew his gaze and glanced at the trembling girls opposite him. Then he raised his feet and walked in the direction of Teacher Zhang. As Len Ning left, the girls breathed a sigh of relief. After a while, several girls felt strange in their hearts. What happened just now? They are actually afraid of that coward. Han Yu came to her senses and guessed that Len Ning was angry with herself and hurriedly chased the person. In this aristocratic high school, her classmates were basically all from wealthy families. There were only a handful of people in the class who got into the exam based on their excellent academic performance, and she was one of them. Len Ning has the best family background in the class, but this freak has better grades than her, which makes her lose the qualification for the first-class scholarship every time. She was so jealous of this freak. Born into the same poor family, how could she become the adopted daughter of the Lei family, receive the love of Lei's mother, and live a life like a princess? And she can only live in the slums. If she wants to buy a beautiful dress, she has to find a way to earn it by herself. Darlings, don't ask why you didn't just hack Han Yu to death. The resort is not in chaos now. If the heroine kills someone, she will become a murderer. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Ki Now. Chapter 7. Of course she doesn't like Len Ning, but it's a pity that she has to rely on her. Only by getting close to Len Ning, the classmates would not dare to look down on her because of her family background. At the same time, only by staying with Len Ning could she have the opportunity to establish a relationship with the Lei family and get to know real rich people. As long as she can seize one opportunity, she can change her destiny. Especially Thunder, the only son of the Lei family. He is so handsome and rich, sooner or later she will make him fall under her skirt. By the time when she becomes the young mistress of the Lei family, everything Len Ning has now will be hers. At that time, she would not mind taking her as her little follower and letting her experience the psychological torture she is going through now. Ning Ning, wait for me, Han Yu shouted while chasing Len Ning. A flash of irritation flashed across Len Ning's face, and instead of stopping, he walked faster. Ning Ning, wait for me. Han Yu quickly quickened her pace and finally caught up with Len Ning. He also grabbed her arm. Just as he was about to speak, his hand was thrown away by Len Ning. Han Yu's face turned pale, and a flash of panic flashed through her heart. Ning Ning, what's wrong? Wasn't she angry that she didn't speak to her before she saw him? She couldn't lose Len Ning as a friend at this time. Len Ning glanced at Han Yu indifferently. Get out of the way, then he said coldly. If time hadn't been urgent and she didn't want to cause trouble, she would have wanted to directly spawn vines and kill this woman who made her feel sick. Ning Ning, I didn't mean to explain to them before. Don't think too much, we are best friends. Han Yu grabbed one of Len Ning's arms again. A flash of disgust flashed across Len Ning's face, and he avoided Han Yu almost at the same moment when he touched him. This caused Han Yu to fail to hold on to Len Ning, and she broke free again. We are no longer friends from today on. If you don't want to be expelled from the school, stay away from me. Len Ning controlled his anger. The vines in the sea of consciousness are already beating. Get away, I don't have time to joke with you. Seeing Han Yu smiling at him with a pale face and preparing to continue to pester him, Len Ning's voice was tainted with a hint of warning. Han Yu froze on the spot. An inexplicable feeling of fear rose from within, and finally he no longer dared to touch Len Ning. She didn't dare to bet, fearing that Len Ning would really take action against her. The corners of Len Ning's mouth turned up in a sarcastic arc, and he raised his feet and left. Han Yu was extremely frightened. What did she mean by her smile just now? As if he has seen through his own appearance. Has she lost Len Ning? So what should she do next? Teacher Zhang. After a while, Len Ning had already walked up to Teacher Zhang. Yes. Classmate Len Ning, are you okay? Teacher Zhang arranged the matter for the boy and looked at Len Ning with a smile. He still had a very good impression of the low-key top student in this class. This kid studies hard and is low-key and unassuming, but he is just too introverted. I want to ask for a leave from the teacher, so I won't go back with everyone. Len Ning smiled back at Teacher Zhang. In her previous life, Teacher Zhang was the only person who helped her talk to her mother in the Lei family villa. Unfortunately, he was picked up by his family before he stayed at Lei's villa for too long. It was also at that time that she realized that Teacher Jiang's family was actually one of the top chaebols in City A. Now that she and her mother have changed their route, they will no longer be able to take refuge in the Lei family villa. Thinking of this, Len Ning felt a little complicated. But it was only for a moment that she ignored those emotions. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Ki Now. Chapter 8. Having experienced the apocalypse, she has already understood that kindness is sometimes just a luxury. It is enough to be good if you do not take the initiative to do evil. A person who is too kind will not only drag himself down, but also drag down the people around him. In this life, no one is more important than her family. Yeah. Okay. Then pay attention to your safety and call the teacher when you get home. Teacher Zhang agreed. He knew that Len Ning's mother came to the resort with her. Since the child wanted to be with his family, he had no reason to object. Thank you, Teacher Zhang. Len Ning smiled happily and bowed to Teacher Zhang to thank him. Teacher Zhang has a smile on his face and is very kind. That, Teacher Zhang. Len Ning still felt unbearable in his heart. What's wrong? Teacher Zhang was still smiling like a spring breeze. If you encounter an accident on the road, it is safer outside the city than inside the city, Len Ning said, then turned and left. Teacher Jiang's face was filled with confusion. I wanted to call Len Ning and raised my hand, but it was obvious that Len Ning was walking in a hurry, so after thinking about it, I let it go. I don't know what this kid is talking about. However, it shouldn't matter. After asking for leave, Len Ning hurried back. Passing by the lawn, classmates looked at her from time to time. She didn't pay attention and walked directly in the direction of the family car. When he saw the car, he saw Lei's mother already waiting by the car. The driver, Uncle Liang, also stood aside respectfully. Why isn't Mom waiting in the car? Len Ning quickened his pace and walked towards Lei's mother. Lei's mother smiled and said, It's boring in the car. The air outside is better. In fact, she just wanted to see her daughter as soon as possible. Her daughter was acting a little abnormal today, and she just thought about going to find her. I didn't expect her to come back so soon. Have you asked for leave? Seeing that her daughter wanted to speak, Lei's mother asked first. Yeah, Len Ning replied with a smile. Let's go, Mom. Let's go to the supermarket to buy some food and come back. At this time, the city was already in chaos, and the way into the city was also chaotic and dangerous. Although there are few people in this resort, there may not be people who have been mutated by the poisonous fog. She had to hurry up and purchase supplies before the poisonous fog arrived. Okay, Mother, Lei said to Len Ning dotingly. I thought to myself that my daughter probably wanted to buy some snacks. Then several people got into the car. The car didn't drive for a while and arrived at the resort's lifestyle supermarket. In the supermarket, Len Ning looked at the various rich snacks and felt extremely excited. After the end of the world, human civilization collapsed, various factories quickly stopped working, and the supply of these things also stopped. Food that is called junk food in this world will be a super luxury product in the end of the world, and even powerful people with superpowers can rarely enjoy it. Hello, there was a network problem today. Now the store only supports cash payments. Len Ning was just about to go shopping, but the salesperson came up to her and said. Len Ning was stunned. She actually forgot that at this time, not only mobile phone communication was blocked, but the internet was also blocked. Len Ning quickly looked at Lei Mu. Mom, please don't bring cash. I didn't bring any cash. The next moment, Lei's mother said something that disappointed Len Ning. Little sister, can you make it easier for me? I'll leave your contact information and come to check out tomorrow. Unable to bear to see her daughter disappointed, Lei's mother said to the salesperson. The salesperson glanced at Lei Mu, then at Len Ning and the driver, Uncle Liang. Seeing that the other party was dressed luxuriously and had a good temperament, I guessed that the other party must be a rich man. Sorry, I'm just a part-time worker and can't make the decision. Unfortunately, after hesitating for a moment, the salesperson still rejected Lei Mu's request. A look of disappointment flashed across Len Ning's face. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Ki Now. Chapter 9. Looking at the dazzling array of products in the supermarket, Len Ning really wanted to just grab them. But she can't. Madam, miss, I have cash, how about I pay for it? Suddenly Uncle Liang said. Len Ning's eyes suddenly shone with light. How many? He asked excitedly. A flash of embarrassment flashed across Uncle Liang's face. Seeing Lei Mu also looking at him, he stammered, oh no, almost 100,000. This money was saved by him working in the Lei family in the past 2 years. I plan to take my wife back to my hometown after seeing her off today and give it to my eldest brother, so that he can help repair his house in my hometown. He is no longer young, and he can't work as a driver for a few more years. He just wants to return to the countryside to retire in the future. Oh, Uncle Liang is awesome, Len Ning said to Uncle Liang with a smile. Lei's mother also looked at Uncle Liang with a smile. Uncle Liang scratched his head in embarrassment. 100,000 yuan was a lot of money in his eyes, but in the eyes of the Lei family, it was probably just a drop in the bucket. Then Lao Liang, just lend me the money first. When you get back, I'll ask Lei to hit your card directly, Lei's mother said to Uncle Liang. Yeah. I'll get the money. Lao Liang was a little embarrassed and left quickly. Len Ning's face was full of smiles. Let's go, Mom, I want to empty most of the supermarket. Then he pulled Lei's mother and walked towards the supermarket. You come too, Len Ning said to the salesperson while pulling Lei's mother inside. The salesperson was a little confused. Before he could even move, he heard Len Ning say, this row wants them all. This row also wants them. And this pile. Ning Ning, you want to buy so much, Lei's mother was a little surprised and pulled Len Ning's arm. They can't stay at this resort for more than a few days and buy so many things. It's not that she's reluctant to spend money, it's just that Ning Ning has never been so wasteful before. Yeah. I want all the food. Len Ning smiled and said to Lei Mu, let's buy something worth 80,000 yuan. The remaining 20,000 yuan will buy something else. Seeing Lei's mother's worries, Len Ning playfully said to Lei's mother, Mom, don't you agree? It's okay, as long as you like it. Lei's mother agreed. It's rare that Ning Ning is in such a good mood today. It's okay to spend a little extravagantly once in a while. Len Ning smiled and said to the salesperson, come and help me order the goods. I want all the snacks, vegetables, grains, and oils. I buy more, so I have to give you a discount. The salesperson recovered from his shock. Okay, I'll help you pack it. Our boss will be here shortly. If you buy so much, you will definitely get a discount, the waiter said respectfully. In her more than 30 years of life, this was the first time she had seen such a rich man. I thought that since the internet was disconnected today, there might be little business in the supermarket, but I didn't expect that such a generous customer would come. At this time Uncle Liang came with the money. Madam, they're all here. Uncle Liang handed the bag of money to Lei's mother. Lei Mu took over the hand, which was heavy. When I opened the bag and took a look, it turned out to be a bunch of soft girl coins inside. Give me 20,000, and you'll pay the rest. Len Ning took over without hesitation. Soon he took out 24 soft girl coins from the black pocket. Uncle Liang was a little surprised. Did the lady mean that she wanted to buy all the goods in the supermarket? Thank you, Uncle Liang, for helping me transport these things back to the apartment. Len Ning patted Uncle Liang on the shoulder. Well, Uncle Liang, after you get them back, pile them all in the living room. I'll deal with them when I get back. Len Ning thought for a while and added. They are currently living in the largest apartment suite. The living room is relatively spacious and should be able to accommodate them. Uncle Liang, it is not convenient to pay in rural areas. It is more convenient to use cash. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Ji Now. Chapter 10. Uncle Liang looked at Lei Mu in shock. Lei Mu nodded towards Uncle Liang. Since Ning Ning wants it, just do as she says. Yes, Uncle Liang finally responded. Madam really dotes on Miss Ning Ning so much. Then I'll leave this to you. I'll go shopping in a few nearby stores. Len Ning remembered that walking forward from here, there was a small farm not far away. There are many fruits and vegetables on the farm, which are specially provided for tourists to pick and taste. There is also a special point outside the farm selling organic vegetables, fruits, and seeds produced on the farm. This feature is very popular among tourists, and many people usually come to join in the fun. She wanted to stock up on supplies, and fruits and vegetables were indispensable. But the most important thing is the seeds. Fruits and vegetables will rot if stored for a long time, but seeds will be fine if stored for 3 to 5 years. She has awakened the wood power. As long as there are seeds, she can keep her mother and herself eating green vegetables. When her wood-type powers become stronger in the future, she will be able to induce plants to produce seeds and have more seeds. Wood abilities and space abilities can be said to be the most practical abilities in the early days of the apocalypse. In the long run, the wood system is actually more practical than the space system. The space system is mainly useful when collecting supplies outside in the early days of the end of the world. At this time, most of the teams going out will be equipped with a space power user so that they can take away more supplies. But as time passes in the end of the world, some jade stones will also mutate and also have storage functions. Although this kind of space jade is very rare and expensive, it is very practical. You know, Space superpowers are not combat type. When the team goes out on a mission, it is much easier to carry a small jade object than to carry someone who can't help and may become a drag. Compared with those with space powers, they are more effective in the early stage and gradually lose their value in the later stage. Wood-type superpowers have always been very popular. First-level wood-type superpowers already have the ability to promote plant growth. For vegetables that sprout quickly, like bean sprouts, the original growth cycle is about 5 days. After being spawned by a first-level wood-type superpower, it can grow into shape in just 1 day. It only takes less than an hour for second-level wood-type superpowers to make bean sprouts grow. As for the third level, it only takes less than a minute. A fourth-level wood-type powerhouse can spawn a large number of plants in a short period of time and solve the food problem of hundreds of people. Powerful wood-type superpowers are the lifeblood resource that every survivor base competes for. In her previous life, she was such a powerful person with wood-type abilities. Before she was framed by Han Yu and Huo Xiao, she was the person in charge of the vegetable base of the Thunder Base Military Supplies Department, leading a series of guarantees such as the vegetable and food supply of the Thunder Base with strong wood-type superpowers. Later, she accidentally awakened the wood mutation power. He became the only mutant in City A with both auxiliary and offensive abilities. The so-called mutated superpower means that after the original superpower reaches a certain level, the original superpower will awaken a second time by chance. Only a very small number of people will awaken mutant powers, and not all powers can be mutated. In her previous life, she had only heard of mutations in the water element, the space element, and her own wood element. Without exception, these superpowers with mutant attributes are all famous figures in City A and are very powerful. Now it seems that her fate is the worst. Len Ning shook his head to get out of his bad mood. Everything in her previous life has passed, and she will definitely not make such mistakes again in this life. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 11. Ning Ning Lei's mother saw Len Ning was about to leave and quickly called her to stop her. "Mom, please take care of these goods with Uncle Liang. I'll be back in a moment." Len Ning took Lei's mother's hand and said. They don't know when the poisonous mist will form again. They have limited manpower and even more limited time, so they must hurry up. Seeing that Lei's mother still wanted to talk, Len Ning said coquettishly, "I have use for these goods, can Mom help me?" Lei Mu's heart softened instantly. "Okay, then I'll work with Lao Liang." Then he patted the back of Len Ning's hand. "Thank you, Mom. I'll be right back." Len Ning smiled brightly and left the supermarket. After walking out of the supermarket, Len Ning arrived at the farm entrance without walking far. As a special project of the resort, there are more people on the farm side, and many people gathered at the entrance. Len Ning was not interested in entering the farm for the time being, and walked directly towards the vegetable and fruit shop not far from the entrance of the farm. "Sorry, the resort network is out of order today. Currently we only support cash payment." As soon as Len Ning entered the vegetable and fruit shop, the shop owner came forward. "Yes. I brought cash," Len Ning replied calmly. "The fruits and vegetables in this store look very fresh, but the quantity and variety are a bit small." However, she didn't plan to buy too much. After all, without space jade, these things would be too difficult to keep fresh. Fruits with a long storage time come in 5 boxes each, and fruits with a short storage time come in 1 box. As for vegetables, each category has a long storage time of 50 kilograms, and each category with a short storage time has 5 kilograms. Len Ning glanced around the store. Then he said to the store owner. The store owner was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the little girl in front of him was a big customer. "By the way, I bought so much, can you deliver it?" Len Ning asked. "Delivery within the resort. Give me the address after payment and I will arrange it right away," the store owner said quickly. "Okay, then you make a list and calculate the price, and I'll pay later. A smile appeared on Len Ning's face. The store owner looked confused. Little girl, what do you want with so many goods? He doubted the authenticity of Len Ning's order. Len Ning was stunned for a moment, and then realized that she was only a high school student now, and it was indeed difficult to win people's trust. Aren't you selling organic vegetables and fruits? Buy them back and give them away. Len Ning looked at the store owner. Well, I'll give you 1,000 deposit first. When you calculate the price, come next door and call me. I'll give you the rest and then you can arrange delivery. Okay, the store owner agreed happily. It seemed like this little girl really bought his stuff. In terms of price, I'll give you 20% off the normal selling price, the store owner said happily. Okay, a smile appeared on Len Ning's face. Then he took out a stack of soft sister coins from his pocket. Under the keen gaze of the shop owner, he counted 1,000 soft girl coins to him. The shop owner touched it and confirmed that it was all genuine money. He happily asked Len Ning to walk slowly. After leaving the vegetable and fruit shop, Len Ning went to the seed shop next door. We can't pay with Xioxin or Alipay today. We only accept cash. The store owner must be in a bad mood, and he didn't even look at Len Ning when he spoke. I brought cash. Len Ning didn't take it seriously and looked up at the products in the store. Various vegetables are displayed in boxes, mostly beans. There are also some small equipment for balcony planting on the side, which is obviously to satisfy the guest's desire for convenient planting. The prices are all listed above. You can choose what you want. The store owner finally raised his head and glanced at Len Ning, then lowered his head and continued to do his own thing. A little girl, probably buying small seeds to play with. Can't buy much.